Hello and welcome everyone. My name is Kimmy. I'm the CEO and host, founder and chief host of Backfield Media, and today I'm here for Film Room Sundays. So this is my first Film Room Sunday where I will be actively going through a different film and different stats and just analyzing it for you. This is my first time doing it in a streaming format, so this is something new to me. So again, if you do have any film for future games, whether it's high school games or even college games, and you're in sports media, you can always provide them. I will only be going through stats sometimes, or I'll only be going through plays depending on what's available. So, with that being said, I will be going through Indiana versus Old Dominion, Utah versus UCLA, as well as versus Osborn Park, as you can see on my screen. With that being said, we are going to get started. So first I'm going to start with Indiana versus Old Dominion, as there were quite a few things I want to get started with. So we are going to go to the team stats. And let's get started instead. And so in the first quarter, it looks like we had a strong start with some points. We had Kickoff for 65 yards for a touchback, and then Colton Joseph, which is a big play, which I'll be showing you. He had ran for a 75-yard touchdown after the kick return at 1st and 10. So it's strong start with some points. Not those ones. We had Kickoff for 65 yards for a touchback, and then Colton Joseph, which is a big play, which I'll be showing you. Gained 75 yards. You can see right here, step into ball, created an opening, and he just went for a slant, then ran to the touchdown. Now, going back into Indiana, they had a decent fight up until you can see right here, this punt right here. Create an opening, and so there's passing complete for 14 yards, and then there's also a pass complete again. They had a decent fight up until this punt right here. From here, so there's passing complete for 14 yards. Then there was an interception, and it was interception by here. There was an interception, and it was interception by, and so it was here. And so it looks like Kaelon Black had been a good aid, as well as Nico Redisick and Jonathan Breeding being a aid with the punt return. And then from here, it looks like Colton Joseph had also been leading in plays. He was our top pass rusher for this game. And from here, we are going to go into Utah. So Utah had done a very good job with ball management and just how they had been able to just really manage just keeping the ball within their possession, which leads to very minimal turnovers there, as you can see with Smith Snowden. My right hand side, he had been able to run the ball into the pockets and straight into the end zone, which leads to very limited. And we also have Devon, who was I believe he was our rushing lead and passing. So he's our QB. And I have quite a few plays for him. And he made quite a few touchdown plays, which really helped in them creating that gap between Utah and UCLA. And so every single time, you can see And he made quite a few touchdown plays, which really helped in them creating that gap between Utah and UCLA. You saw that opening right there, and he went right. And so every single time you can see place of that corner. And it was a short corners that he saw, so you can see the pocket here. And there was good defense right there. He went right. And so I believe the UCs had a good game for this first game, and I also saw my transfer from ODU, who I had a brief chance to interview. He is running back. He had a few carries within the game, not all of them touchdown carries, which he did like to do when he was at ODU and during the spring game, which he had a very big opportunity. So he had 3 carries for 11 yards rushing, which we'll get into that. So for him, we have again our lead in passing, Devon, also in rushing, 16 carries for 87 yards with 1 touchdown. And then Smith Snowden for 6 carries with 6 receiving and 51 yards, no touchdowns. So again, these were just some good. It was a good first game for the Utah Utes. That's why I'm wearing the red jersey. It is not a Utes jersey. It is more so just my way of wearing red for both Redskins and the Utah Utes. As I don't have the correct red, but this is the closest I can get to it. And you can see Bryce right here, who's just trailing behind. He had 5 long yards and then 3 carries for 11 yards, as I said earlier. So he's still doing his thing. He does do short yardage, medium to short yardage, so he does take quite a bit to really take down his running back. And he has very good physicality, which is very beneficial to Utah. So glad to see that he got to show that within his first game. And I apologize if it seems like I'm being somewhat quiet. It's really just I want to preserve my voice and it's right. So that's what I'm just being mindful of. And so I think for the next game they will be in a good spot when it comes to their schedule. So just looking at the Utes, they are prepping next for Cal Poly, which is this next upcoming Saturday. And so it looks like they'll be pretty much on the receiving end of possessions and interceptions. Again, with their pass and rush leader here. Again, with their Devon, as well as our receiving being Snowden. So again, Utah will be in a good position going into this game. This was a game that's very much in their favor. Just coming off this first game and just looking at their practices and their dynamics, they're very much together. And with that, they are able to maintain possessions and just have very good game management. So the games can ultimately go within their favor. Considering this is my first time covering Big 12, this is really just something that I've been happy to cover. I'm glad that Bryce, especially, who I had a brief opportunity to interview, but didn't get to get the writing or the video out, is really just something that I do enjoy doing, and just been able to really just together. So again, I do think Utah UCs will have a very good season moving forward for this regular season. Will they make it to championships? Well, not championship, but to that point where they could really gain the national championships and just move on to bowl. I think it is possible if they maintain their momentum. Again, I think they may be using a little bit more usage of Bryce and those other running backs in the running back room eventually. I don't believe it is something that is impossible or not going to happen, but it's definitely something to show, as he has been a very prominent on their practice for social media. And so that's really it for Utah and Old Dominion, as Hussein Joseph was one of the leading, and that they had fairly good defense for Old Dominion. I want to say it was anything crazy since they had a I would say fair fight, but definitely a decent fight. The defense just held on a little bit longer and they maintained possession. I believe that would just be, it would have been a different turnout, which Old Dominion just always had a very bad losing streak as I've been a student there. So it has changed within the momentum within the past few years, I would have to say. And so with Osborn Park, on the other hand, it was just a full landslide. So we're just going to go through a few plays.
There have always been a few.
And just get through
Ready
this
to fight and
advertisement.
win for our nation. For 250 years.
And so this is on NFHS. They may not always show every game, but when you do, this is really what you're looking for. And so we're just going to scrub through. And so you can see here that after the snap, he had gone under. And so that is where he had been able to go about 10, 20 yards at least before getting a hold. This didn't lead to any points, so. Then Osborn Park, I believe they had gained some points here. I'm not sure why NFHS hasn't updated their graphics for in-game, but that's just going to be something that we're just going to be dealing with throughout these videos. I will be reaching out to some of the sports media people if they do have clips and just updates about games. And also try my best to go out to these games. And just scratch it again. And the kickoff is complete and then returned. There was quite a bit of battle. You've gone back a little bit. So let's get right here. He makes it down through that pocket. So just going back a little bit. This pocket right here, he goes up to the 50 yard, a little under the 50 yard. He is able to land. And so this is really just a general overview of how the games has gone. This was the landslide between Freedom and Osborn Park, as Osborn Park had a very significant score difference between Osborn Park and Freedom. And so I believe the Freedom Osborn Park game was at least a 40-point difference. So it was fairly significant for a first game out of the season. And Freedom, from the time that I was in high school, was pretty much known for being a very prominent team, along with Hilton. So yeah, it was a 40-point difference. And that's pretty much all I have for everyone today. This is a bit quiet since I didn't want to get through it in the morning. Again, this is for Redskins and for the Utes. Nothing else. Those other teams. So again, I hope to see y'all soon. And I'll see you in another video.
Hello. Yep.